je voulais pas les confondre. Vous voyez, là, nous avons Marlène Dietrich, et là après je présenterai Greta Garbo. Nous sommes là, vous voyez, en 86, ça c'est l'année même de sa mort, vous voyez. Nous sommes là en 1986, ce sont des paysages, des champs de fleurs, du côté d'Opio, là où il est décédé.
I've seen several of his paintings, none of which have stuck in my mind as being anything other than awful. He was beyond post-impressionism. I mean, it was just terrible, the kind of greetings card painting, which is not interesting at all, except every now and again you see an image and you think, oh, that looks a bit like a photograph by Lartigue.
For 2 decades, Lartigue succeeded in eking out a living by selling his rather undistinguished paintings to his distinguished friends. But privately, he never gave up the pleasures of photography or his carefree lifestyle. Despite the wars and tragedies that were scarring Europe, Lartigue refused to acknowledge that the world had changed or that his gilded youth was over.
Dans les années 14-18, il met en place un système de protection et il l'écrit dans son journal d'une façon très claire et il écrit si être une autruche c'est préserver mon bonheur, eh bien je préfère m'enfoncer la tête dans le sable. C'est délibéré, c'est un choix.
Lartigue experienced little hardship during the war. Much of his time was spent with society friends, either in the Alps, at the beach, or at the family home in Paris.
Spring is blossoming again, and soldiers coming back from the front find Paris a most welcome change. The battle lines are not so distant, but strangely and happily, we all feel that the war is far away.
Lartigue always liked the very best of everything. This was his favourite restaurant, Maxime's, which for much of his life was the most fashionable and exclusive restaurant in Paris. But after the First World War, bourgeois Parisians who'd flocked here during the Belle Époque had fallen on hard times. In September 1926, his diary gloomily noted, "The crisis is so bad, the richest people
talk of turning their clothes inside out and breeding their pedigree dogs to sell the puppies. For them, 100,000 francs is nothing anymore. All I have in the world is a little more than 350 francs.
He then adds, enough for 4 meals at Maxime's.
Even at his lowest ebb, Lartigue was reluctant to deny himself the luxury he was born to.
Il s'est donné beaucoup de mal pour transposer le bonheur familial vers le cercle d'un bonheur un peu artificiel, mais brillant, tel qu'on le voit nous dans les albums, qui est le cercle de la société. Et là, ben, je pense qu'il a brûlé ses ailes intimes.
It's almost as if Lartigue refused to face the trials of adulthood. He continued using his camera as a means of escape.
The way in which you're drawn into pictures alters. You're drawn into a family in the 3 First World War pictures, and you want to be part of that family. You, in the 1930s pictures, you're drawn towards a pretty sybaritic lifestyle, which is kind of attractive in a Vanity Fair kind of way, but it's not the same. It's different, and there's a certain hardness to it.
There were some fallow periods for Jacques where the pictures aren't maybe quite as dynamic or as wonderful as some of the earlier pictures, and then things happen. He meets somebody.
That somebody was the beguiling René Pearl.
Il m'a dit un jour, j'ai trouvé une femme extraordinaire, peut-être la plus belle de toutes. Et elle est un petit peu tzigane, un peu roumaine, peut-être un peu juive, un peu. Elle me dit c'est un mélange de toutes les races méditerranéennes, c'est une vraie merveille.
René loves being photographed, and Lartigue loves photographing a beautiful woman with long fingernails and with big hats and those kinds of things. And I think that that's really the basis of the relationship, this kind of symbiotic activity of dressing up and photographing. That's what they spend almost all of their time doing, from what I can tell.
Lartigue had an extraordinary gift for photographing women, but his relationships with them were less successful. His affair with Renée was just one of many, and his first 2 marriages ended in divorce. He was nearly 50 when he met the woman who would remain with him for the rest of his life, Fleurette Hormeyer.
The way the relationship with Fleurette worked was that the space that he needed to continue to be an eternal child was created by her. She was secretary, mother, wife, lover. Doesn't make it sound too bad, really.
But Fleurette couldn't protect him from the whims of the art world. By the 1950s, his paintings were deeply unfashionable, and his patrons and collectors deserted him, leaving him penniless.
Il se retrouvait dans une petite chambre de bonne, sans eau ni électricité, sans chauffage, avec sa Fleurette qui lui faisait des spaghettis sans beurre, sans rien du tout, et puis c'est tout. Et puis il avait un tableau, le même qu'il est en train d'essayer de regratter, de refaire. Il n'y avait plus de couleurs, les pinceaux n'avaient pas de poils. Et lui, il était là avec l'estomac froid, il était maigre comme ça, c'était l'horreur. Moi, je me suis dit, il va mourir.
His parents died in the 50s, and he was a bit depressed. He was aging, he wasn't very successful as a painter. He felt like he was nearing the end of his life.
But in 1962, the couple's fortunes changed. Friends invited them to California, and they had with them 2 albums of Lartigue's childhood photographs. On the journey home, they spent a day in New York, where by chance they met a photographic agent who was so impressed with Lartigue's pictures that he showed them to the Museum of Modern Art. At this time, the museum was promoting photography as a serious art form, and Lartigue was seen as a pioneer.
In the Museum of Modern Art, there was a very sort of contemporary form of street photography being promoted, and Lartigue gave these photographers a kind of